It's time to introduce our speaker today. Reverend David Shaw is a minister here at Center of Enlightenment, and he was ordained in, I forgot to ask, 2018. He's also our president of the board of directors, and he's a valuable asset to our church. He handles a lot of our logistical stuff, and we are extremely grateful for his services and proud to have him speaking today. So with that, please help me welcome Reverend David Shaw to the platform.
Thank you, Reverend Keith. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Reverend David.
He said something about a powerful sermon. He must have heard about the poem I read last week where I got tranced before I did it. Thank you, Maya Angelou. So we'll see how this goes. Also last Sunday, during Reverend Lisa Argo's sermon, she talked about if someone jumped off a bridge, would you join them? I have to admit that I made that poor choice in my youth, and it is one example of my guardian angel saving my life. It was late March, and my parents' trailer club was camping at a former member's farm north of Ann Arbor. It was a warm 62 degrees that Saturday, and there was a river that ran through the property. So some of the teenage boys decided to jump off the bridge that crossed the river. It was only a 6-foot drop, so it wasn't life-threatening. Or so I thought. That's the story of my life. That's what I get for thinking. 5 boys jumped off the bridge and swam to the bank, and then it was my turn. I dove into the river and swam to the surface. And then my body went into shock because the water was probably 40 degrees or maybe a little less or something, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't swim. I couldn't even move my arms or legs. I was in shock. I was just floating in the river. I mean, my mouth was above the surface, but I couldn't take a breath. My lungs wouldn't do anything. Luckily, there was a sandbar that extended into the river, and I washed up onto it. Then I could breathe and climb out of the river. The one boy, smart enough not to jump, handed me my towel, and I walked as quickly as I could back to our trailer to dry off and put some warm clothes on. I know today that luck had nothing to do with me washing up on that sandbar. My guardian angel had guided me there. The current should have taken me to the opposite side, where there was a tall bank and a deep bottom. But instead, I was guided at a 90-degree angle to the current. And thank you again, guardian angel. I say thank you again because I have repeatedly thanked her for this moment. And I say thank you again because she has saved my life. Oh, I think I know of 8 of them besides that one. And I'm sure there's many times that I'm not conscious of, like the reckless car running out of gas before it ran your way. Now, another thing that Reverend Lisa said last Sunday is that I like to define words so that we are in agreement on the subject. Right, Reverend Lisa? She's shaking her head, yeah. So here goes. According to dictionary.com, one definition of an angel is a spiritual being believed to act as an attendant, agent, or messenger of God, conventionally represented in human form with wings and a long robe. And a guardian angel is one who is believed to protect and guide a specific person, group, or nation. Corporations have guardian angels. Did you know that? That's one of the reasons the Supreme Court said that they're individuals. Center of Enlightenment has a guardian angel. And many religions believe in guardian angels, including Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and Islam. I actually wrote out the pronunciation guide for Zoroastrianism because I don't know how. I teach comparative religion. I don't know how to pronounce it. One thing not in that list is the National Spiritual Association of Churches. I wouldn't be allowed to give this sermon at one of their churches because you can't prove that angels are real. Even though I've been talking to mine almost my whole life, and I've seen angels and talked to archangels for the past, 33 years now? Wow, I'm getting old. Better than the alternative. Now, if you want to talk to your guardian angel, I encourage you to first believe that it's possible, because if you don't believe it's possible, it ain't going to happen. They might talk, but you don't believe they're there, so you won't listen. Then you need to make some quiet time daily, set up protection around your aura. And this is as easy as saying, God, please protect me with a golden bubble around my aura so that only goodness happens in this space. God, please protect me with a golden bubble around my aura so that only goodness happens in this space. Then ask for your guardian angel to talk to you. If you hear a voice in your head that isn't your normal voice, congratulations. You have a connection to spirit. Now you need to check the energy of the voice to confirm that it has your best interest in mind, because, for instance, when we were doing mediumship here one time and Reverend Ken had us trance, I brought in a horse rustler. I forget his name, but his vibration wasn't very high. It was interesting, but it wasn't good. To confirm that this voice has your best interests, use your heart to check the vibrational energy of this being. If it feels at all impure or murky, send it on its way, then thank God for the protection and try again tomorrow. If this being's energy is pure and positive, ask for their name. If you get a name, great. Those of us here that do mediumship know that really the hardest thing to get is names. Sex, relationship, some of their physical characteristics or clothing or style or occupation, you get those. Names, I don't know why they don't like to give them. Spirit guides give names more than relatives. Anyway, if they don't give you a name, ask them for something to call them by, because there's lots of shortcuts they could use. I forget, somebody had an archangel that they were working with and they didn't even know it, and they were calling him like Mike. So, hey, if they answer, great. Then, to make sure it's your guardian angel, ask if they've ever saved your life and to give you an example that you will remember, like jumping off a bridge into 40-degree water. If you get this, you now have a friend for life. They have been protecting you since you were born, but now you can talk with them. Bonus! At this time, I would recommend thanking them for their time and their efforts in keeping you safe, then ending the connection and saving more conversation for the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, for the rest of your life, if you choose, because you can turn it off like I have 3 times in my life. My family tells stories that when I could first talk, I would include an invisible friend in my conversations. By the time I was old enough for kindergarten, I had stopped talking about this being because my parents started discouraging it, and I did not want to disappoint them. Also, you talk about imaginary friends when you're 4.5 and people look at you a little weird. That's why they discouraged me. That was the first time I turned it off. Then in high school, I turned it off. And then I had a really demanding job and I didn't have time for it, so I turned it off. And then when I got fired from that, I was like, well, I'm a certified spiritual healer. They said I'm supposed to become a minister. I might well start using this stuff again. And here I am. So when I started training as a spiritual healer in 1991, one of the first exercises that we did was connect to our guardian angels. Gee, there's a theme here. That imaginary friend was my guardian angel, and I have been consciously communicating and working with her ever since. So like I said, 91 to now, 33 years. In 2017, I took an introductory mediumship course with Reverend Elizabeth Brown because I wanted to see how she taught the subject and because lifelong learning is part of my mission this lifetime. I'd already taken it from Reverend Ken twice, but can always use more practice. In one of the early classes, she had the students do a meditation to meet their guardian angels, similar to what I explained earlier. Since I already knew mine, I decided to ask her how we first met. She said, "You know that story about you flying like Super Baby when you were young?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I caught you. Otherwise, instead of a broken collarbone, you would have had a broken neck and died." So I thanked her again for that rescue and all of the others, known and unknown, then waited for the meditation to finish. Here is the Super Baby story, so I don't have to tell it multiple times, which I don't remember at all. I was 2.5. When I was around 33 months old, to be exact, my family was at a park. It was probably a picnic or a reunion or something. And I decided to sit on one end of a teeter-totter because I'd probably seen the older kids doing it and it looked fun. So here's little 33-month David sitting on the end of a teeter-totter. My second brother, who's 7 years older than me, decided to jump on the other end. What a great idea. They say I flew up 6 feet and out 15 feet before I crashed to the ground. Super Baby, you know somebody who can fly. The story goes on to say I was fine, but the next day I complained of pain and my mother took me to the doctor where it was discovered I had a broken left collarbone. As I said earlier, she said if she hadn't caught me, I would have been done. Thanks again, Guardian Angel. Thanks to her, I have had an additional 740 months in this life. I did the math. I had to do it twice because I forgot the answer before I typed it in. That's the other thing about being 64. Now, I am conscious of at least 6 other occasions where my guardian angel saved my life, and if you thought about it, I bet you could come up with a few moments in your whole own life where you think, how did I survive that? Write them down. Then when you have your talks with your guardian angel, you can get confirmation. It's one way that we like confirmation up here. I got a confirmation when I was doing healing on Rose King. It was fun. I got time. Yay! I have references to the 2 songs that we played. The Judds, that's a beautiful song. Naomi Judd has an amazing voice. I haven't really listened to them that much. That's one of the great things about picking songs for services is I type in a topic and I see what comes up and Spirit says, that's a good one. And then I go, yeah, but, or I go, wow, or I start crying. Those are the really good ones. So Guardian Angel is about her great-grandparents and how they watch over her. They aren't guardian angels. That's very rare that a human becomes a guardian angel. I mean, very rare. My joy guide was a human in my lifetime, but they ain't no guardian angel because you have to turn back into an angel to become a guardian angel. So they're protectors. And then there's also guides. And you can talk to them too. We get them up here all the time. My grandparents were here, still are. And then the Angels song by Amy Grant. I used to sing that in my head in the dentist chair. And some other stressful situations, like if you're in a doctor's office getting tests and stuff or surgery, that's a really good one to sing. Angels watching over me, every move I make. I'm connected now that I don't need to do that anymore, but it's still a great song. And I would encourage people that if you like it, Listen to it a lot, memorize the lyrics, and sing it as a way to build a connection with your guardian angel. There's other songs that can inspire that, other meditations. I encourage you to research it. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Reverend David.
You're welcome.
See, I told you that'd be a powerful sermon.